created a mini lesson that I think would work best for first grade students. Because in the story Bloom, after ranking it, I think this is the best grade level because of the high vocabulary and also how many words that the author decided to put on each page would work best for first grade, but it could also be used in other grades as well. So, to start off, Cronen's Bloom is about a fairy named Bloom, and they live in a glass castle. So the problem is that mud fairies can turn weeds into flowers and spin sand in a glass, but they do not fit well into the glass castle because they're constantly getting in trouble for tracking mud everywhere. And this is Bloom. She is the problem, and she is the one who is tracking mud everywhere, which can be very annoying to those in the kingdom, and Bloom is constantly getting in trouble for doing this. So this is why the Bloom is a problem in the kingdom, but really she knows how much she is annoying them and she's constantly getting in trouble, so she decides to leave. And once she decides to leave, everybody notices how important she really is and how special she really is through her powers because she is the only one who can solve the problem of the castle breaking. And so the story continues to tell the journey of them finding Bloom, and also the story ends with Bloom figuring out that she has a purpose and everybody else learning how everybody has different strengths and different weaknesses, and that everybody can belong and that everybody has their each individual purpose that makes them special, which can be used in any grade, I think, to understand the overall message of the story. So, in my mini lesson, I have geared my objective and purpose for this mini lesson based on the literacy concepts / strategies, and I would want my students to learn the literacy concept / strategy, so that's the skill that I would want them to learn. So the objective of my mini lesson is for the students to use the literacy standard ccss.ela.literacy.rl.1.7, and this standard is for students to be able to use illustrations and details in a story to describe its characters, settings, or events. So this would be the objective of my mini lesson. The purpose of my mini lesson would be for students to be able to learn to identify key events, characters, and the places in a story by matching the blanks in a worksheet, retelling the important steps of the story with the pictures, to highlight the meaning illustrations can have in a story to understand the overall message. So basically, the purpose would be for them to understand how much illustrations can guide their learning and help them. And if they can't understand all the words yet, or if they still are learning certain words. So with that being said, in how I would conduct this mini lesson, I would first probably read Cronenbook's Bloom to them through a read aloud, probably on Monday, because this is the start of the week. And then the students will then be broken into groups in the course of a week to read the story themselves, and they'll be able to look at the pictures to guide their reading with their own physical copies of the books, so I can see how well they are comprehending the story. At the end of the week, the students will be able to complete a whole classroom worksheet on the blackboard or whiteboard, where they will be able to learn how the influence illustrations can have in a story. I will make this worksheet by taking excerpts from the story Bloom and turning them into worksheets, where key illustrations on the story will be filled with blanks, and the end product will be a worksheet where the students will glue the illustrations where these words would fit best by the overall knowledge of the story. So with that being said, what the students will do, the students will be given a worksheet that will have multiple steps, and all the students will work together and complete it. Each student will be given an illustration from the story that has a key concept to color. So then the students will have the story filled in with blanks where the pictures are going to go in the story. The students will be able to work collaboratively, and they'll be able to use the words given to match the pictures that will best guide their action based on the story. This activity will be broken into multiple periods of the day, so the students will not lose the purpose and attention span that is developed developmentally appropriate for a first grader. So with that being said, once the students finish this mini lesson independently, then they will work together by taping pictures to the blanks using the concept of the story. Then they will regroup as a classroom to see what strengths and to see the strengths and the weaknesses of the classroom and how to build or highlight these strengths or weaknesses to help them figure out the words in the story. And then they'll then be able to see how much illustrations can have meaning in a story for them at this age.